On 26 September 2023, at 6 a.m. Nepalese time, a Russian team of 3 members reached Dhaulagiri base camp. The Russian team was attempting to summit Dhaulagiri. This was the time when climbing season was over and there were no other team left at the base camp. This was going to be pure alpine-style expedition. They were climbing on their own without any Sherpa support and oxygen cylinder. The team was full of experienced climbers that included Roman Abidava, Rasim Kashapov, and Nadya Oleneva. Nadya Oleneva was among the best female climbers in the world. She was an experienced alpinist and mountaineering instructor. Throughout her career, she made several technical climbs. Most notably, she made first ascent of Sharp Peak in Kyrgyzstan 2021. In the summer of 2022, she climbed Pik Korolyova in Tien Shan, Kyrgyzstan. Now she is in Himalaya for the first time and climbing the mighty mountain Dhaulagiri. Dhaulagiri is not as popular as Everest or K2, but it is a tough peak to climb. It has steep slopes and 5 sharp ridges on the way to the summit. Many lives has been lost trying to climb this mountain and has a fatality rate of 16%. Now the Russian team was looking to acclimatize before attempting to summit. On 27th of September, they made their first acclimatization trip to French Pass. That was at an altitude of 5,445 meters, gaining almost 800 meters of altitude. On 29 September, the team went on for next acclimatization round. They reached an altitude of 6,050 meters, just below the usual Camp 1. Then the wind started picking up. They had to set up the camp in the bad weather. Somehow they spent the night and was able to return the base camp next day. It was clear that the weather was unpredictable because the climbing season was already over and the cold was picking up. Soon there will be more snowfall and strong winds, which will make any climb in the Himalaya very difficult. The bad weather continued for several days. The team stayed in their tent at the base camp. On 6th of October, the weather got better and they made their visit to Icefall close to Dhaulagiri's Eiger Face. A rock tower that resembles Eiger's north face is notorious for producing avalanches. Looking at the good weather window on 7th of October, the team decided to go for high-rise acclimatization and they planned to climb up to 7,050 meters in 4 days. On first day, the team reached an altitude of 6,050 meters. On next day, they climbed up to 6,700 meters, which is nearly Camp 2. On 8th of October, they continued their climb, but the wind was picking up. They managed to reach an altitude of 7,250 meters. Now they had to camp in a strong wind one more time. They survived the night and on 9th of October the team started descending to the base camp. The descent was not so easy. The wind blew up at 70 km per hour all day long. They had to deal with lots of snow on the way down. They reached the base camp by the evening. By now they had completed their acclimatization trip. Now they knew the route well and ready for the summit. But since the weather was not favorable, they had to wait and rest for 3 days at the base camp. On 4th of October, Saturday morning, the team were at Camp 1 and decided to make it to the summit in next 4 days. They started their climb at early morning. They went upstairs from Camp 1 to an altitude of 6,050 meters. After 4 hours, Abidava arrived at Camp 2 at an altitude of 6,680 meters. 3 minutes later, Kashapava arrived and they waited for Oleneva, but she didn't arrive. There was no communication with her, so they went back to see where she was. In the search of Oleneva, they found her hiking pole and a marking in the snow that she might have slid down the slope. They followed the trail down for 200 meters before it ended in Sirach and a steep ice fall. They couldn't go further. The cloud moved in and affecting the visibility in the area. They had to give up on search, but they were hoping that she might have survived with her sleeping bag and first aid kit. They decided to pack the bag and descend to the base camp and report it to the rescue team. Due to bad weather and poor visibility, they could not carry a search operation. Search operation was scheduled for next morning at 6:30 a.m. Next morning, a search helicopter started looking for Oleneva. After hours of search, they were able to spot her body, confirming that Oleneva had died during the fall, but couldn't evacuate her body due to terrible weather and poor visibility. Now evacuation was delayed for another day. Next morning, a helicopter flew out to evacuate Oleneva's body. The helicopter flew through the gaps of cloud to the place where Oleneva's body was spotted during the search flight. Unfortunately, there was heavy snowfall in the evening and avalanches that had swept her body deep in the snow. The avalanches also changed the topography of the site, making it impossible for the rescue team to retrieve her body. The Russian team decided to terminate the search and rescue operation. Since the Russian team has terminated their search operation, Oleneva's body will remain in Dhaulagiri forever. Oleneva will be remembered for her contribution to mountaineering and alpinism. She was a great person and an inspiration to thousands of women seeking their career in mountaineering.